Hi, everyone. Welcome to Chapel. We're so glad to have you join us today. We're also very excited to have a few new faces on the team. We thank them so much for their ministry with us. Before we start to sing our songs, Need You More and Worthy of It All, I just want to consider the words of the psalmist. In Psalm 145, verse 3 to 4, it reads, "Great is the Lord and worthy of praise. His greatness no one can fathom. They speak of the glorious splendor of your majesty, and I will meditate on your wonderful works." In these troubling times, it's hard for us to know where our hope comes from. I just want to encourage us that in the Bible it says that our hope comes from the Lord. So as we sing this song, meditate on God's characteristics, on what he means to you, on his love, on his mercy, on his kindness. Use this song as a sacrifice of praise, as a sacrifice of thanksgiving unto him, and just pray these words to him. Join us as we sing now.
I need you more than yesterday. I need you more.
Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance.
Well, welcome to Chapel. This is happening during Black History Month, and so during this chapel, we want to give space for students in particular to be able to share about their experiences that they've had around issues of race and things that pertain to their heritage as Black people in this world. And so I'm excited to have some students from the Afro Caribbean Club and just students in general that are here at Trinity Western and want to share some of their experiences. So we're going to go to Anya to introduce herself, and then we'll get around and then we'll get started.
Hello, I'm Anya McHenry. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and I am a third-year history major.
Hi, my name is Tamalori Awanusi. I'm from Dublin, Ireland, and I am a political science major.
Hey y'all, my name is Osei. I'm from Maple Ridge. I'm from BC, and I'm a fourth-year bio major.
Hey, shout out to those hard science folks out in that bio and chemistry world. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate you guys just sharing a little bit about where you're from. So we got San Antonio, represent Lone Star State. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand. It's real hot in Texas. So we got San Antonio. Yeah. We got Maple Ridge. That's more local, right? We'll say. And then we got, did you say Scotland? Is that what you said?
No, I said Dublin, Ireland.
Dublin, Ireland. Yeah. Hey, you got to educate me, brother. Dublin, Ireland. So that's what's up. So I figured as we just started this conversation, it's just a casual conversation for us to, or really for you guys to share with your peers here at Trinity Western, what Black History Month means to you. You know, I'm coming from an American context, and so I know what it means there, but I'm curious for you guys as students, as you navigate these waters of still a predominantly white Christian institution, what does Black History Month mean to you? What is it important for your peers to know about it? Don't everybody jump in all at once.
Well, Black History Month for me, because since I'm like from San Antonio, Texas, has kind of always been something that was like really important in my house. When it came to February, it's always been something that I've kind of like celebrated like it was my birthday. So when coming to Trinity, it was very important for me to bring that cultural aspect to the like the university that I went to, especially with a predominantly white university where I feel like a lot of these stories aren't really told, and there's a biased sort of like perception, especially I've noticed when it comes to like African Americans in particular outside of like the mainstream media. So it's very special to me that I get to show people a more positive aspect of my culture, or even what's the word? I guess demonstrate to them what it is that my culture is exactly.
Also, to me, there's no Black History Month in Ireland. You know, Black people haven't really been around in Ireland for that long. You know, I'm first generation Black Irish, where my parents are from Nigeria. So we don't really have a month where we celebrate Black history because there's essentially no history here. And but honestly, from what I've seen in the States and in the UK, it really does seem like a moment where we acknowledge, you know, the past, you know, what political leaders and figures, people who really pushed for us and who fought for us. It seems like a moment to appreciate them. But I mean, for me, I believe that should be always, and that shouldn't be something we should just take a month to do. So, you know, I'm really trying to find what Black History Month means to me individually. So hopefully Canada can help me find that.
Yeah.
Black History Month for me is kind of interesting because here, Black History Month is very different than it is in the States. Um, I found, especially a couple of years ago, like I was made very aware of the fact that it wasn't really something that a lot of people cared about, and it wasn't necessarily intentional. It wasn't that they intentionally didn't care. It was just so far removed from their, everyday lives. And even at Trinity, like last year, I think was maybe the first year that we really did something notable for Black History Month. Um, so, I mean, for me, it's just been a journey, I guess, kind of navigating how to make it, because it's very important for me, but the environment, it's just different than it is in the States, and trying to, I guess, help people around me understand why it's so important, and why it's something that I take very seriously. That's what I would say.
Yeah. No, that's important for I think people to understand. I would say, this is a beautiful thing. I mean, Dublin, Ireland, like I said, Maple Ridge, San Antonio, like I think what this demonstrates on some level is the diversity of Black people. We are not monolithic, as no people are. We all have some things in common. Many of us know about shea butter. Come on, somebody. Coconut oil. There are certain things that just come with our experience that you're familiar with. But then there are deviations and unique experiences that all of us have. There are Black folks in the Caribbean. There's Black folks evidently in Dublin, Ireland. you know, there's Black folks all kinds of different places, and so it's cool to experience the sameness that we have, but then also to appreciate the unique experiences that we have and to be able to share that with other people. I think you're right, Ose. There's a lot of people that it's not necessarily that they're antagonistic toward Black history, but they just, to be frank, are ignorant. They just haven't been exposed to it, and so you don't know what you don't know. What for you guys has been maybe we can talk about some positive experiences you've had around race here at Trinity. Being students of color in a space that is increasingly more diverse around race, but still predominantly white, and definitely wouldn't be as it increases the minority populations that it increases with. It's not necessarily Black folks. So what have been some positive experiences of your journey so far here at Trinity as you navigate these waters as a university student?
For me, oh no, go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead. Take the floor.
I haven't had, obviously this is my second semester here, so I haven't had, I mean, one of them was online as well, so I haven't had a proper experience yet with Trinity. But I mean, in terms of like rugby and my coach here at Trinity Western, he's been a standout man, a stand-up guy in terms of everything. At the peak of the Black Lives Matter movement in the summer, he did reach out to me personally, and he spoke to me, and he was very straight up about it. And he said that, there are a lot of things that I haven't know, and a lot of things I need to unlearn and learn towards being a better person and being more understanding. And, just having a coach who, he didn't have to, do it, and it's not, but he did, and it's not something that like I should essentially be grateful for, that my coach isn't racist, but it's just something that you can appreciate, take as a token that he cares and he understands what I go through and what other players on the team might go through.
Yeah. For me, I don't know if this is like but it's something that I've noticed, and I kind of take it as a big deal. But I remember when I first got here in my first year, there was maybe a solid total of like 5 Black people that I knew, and like that was kind of it. There may have been others, I just didn't see them. But like now, it's just so great to see the diversity, and not just obviously Black people, though that is like you know, directly affects me, but just the increasing diversity and the willingness that Trinity has had over the years to have the conversation about diversity and, you know, Black History Month and multiculturalism and the integration of different cultures in the school. It's just been really great to see how Trinity has been pushing to make sure that there is proper representation. That's been something that's been very encouraging for me.
A lot of the positive experiences I've had serving Mary's at Trinity has come from being a part of the Afro-Caribbean Club. It was a bit of a culture shock for me, coming from Texas all the way to Canada and being being a part of a huge or a smaller minority. I think there was 2 Black girls in my building and one of them left soon after I arrived. So it was really nice being able to connect with other people that kind of like look like me and learning that even though we're all Black, there are differences between us culturally.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. I mean, you know, some of what I think you learn as you navigate the waters of being engaged with Black diversity, you know, so within just sort of Black life, the diversity is that, yeah, like, you know, we have a lot of different things going on, you know. So for example, you know, some people might be surprised that some, now this is a key word here now, so y'all understand what some, S-O-M-E, some, that means not all, just a portion, some Africans and African Americans and Caribbean folks don't always all get together on every issue. You know what I'm saying? Like there's different ways of being and living and doing and biases even within the Black community that sometimes we wrestle with. And so again, we're not monolithic. You know, we all are shaped and formed in different ways. And so it's not right or wrong, but it's good to be able to come together, as you said, and be able to realize, hey, we're all in this together. You know, the type of rice you may eat may be different than the rice that I eat. You know what I'm saying? The way you cook your plantains are maybe different than how I eat certain things, but we're all in this together. And at least in the context of, you know, the United States, what often is said is that Black history is American history. You know, it's not this separate thing that's like out there somewhere. It's like there's no American history without Black history, because to be frank, Black people kind of have helped America become America, in addition to indigenous peoples and other folks that have kind of been maligned over the years. So on the flip side of that question, what's some challenges? What are some challenges that you've experienced here at Trinity? You know, maybe not as much, you know, if you've been online, but just what are some hardships that you're like, man, I mean, I like Trinity and everything, but people be getting on my nerves because of fill in the blank. Don't grab the mic too soon, anybody.
No, because none of us want to put Trinity on blast.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're pausing.
I mean, I wouldn't have much to say. I suppose, like, I mean, we all kind of, I think Anya kind of said in the last thing, there's obviously not a lot of Black people on campus. So, I mean, personally for me, I feel a lot more comfortable when I'm around people who look like me. You know, so being in a dorm or even like in a whole building where I'm the only Black guy, it's not the most ideal thing, because at the end of the day, while we still hope to be progressive and equal, there's a difference, you know, me wearing my do-rag or, you know, me brushing my hair, or like certain things that I would do that they wouldn't do. And, you know, it is always you are a bit out of your comfort zone, you know, like they start asking questions like, oh, can I wear your do-rag? Or, you know, how do you say this? Why do you say that? Or like, oh, why do you do that type of thing? You know, all these little questions that they don't really need to be asked, but I understand there's curiosity when there's something they're new to, but I'm not, you know, it's kind of stuff that I've been going over like the last 21 years of my life. So I kind of would appreciate if I didn't have to do it, to keep doing it, you know.
Yeah. No, that's good insight, I think, to be able to share. I'll say, as a staff member, grateful for Trinity Western, but I think one of the challenges that predominantly white Christian institutions have around issues of race is that it kind of like the default setting is white, and so whether it's curriculum, in your coursework or what people expect of chapel, it's just so many different components are, we're used to having white preachers. We're used to having, white, music that would represent more of a white experience. We're used to just that kind of thing. And so in my role, I try to do what I can to normalize diversity. And that means, creating a platform by which we expect to see people that look different than us all the time, and that it's not just, we only have Black speakers in chapel during Black History Month. That's not going to work. That's just not going to work. So I make sure I do my part beyond just me, preaching or speaking because I'm the university chaplain, but having other guests that are not just Black, but that are Asian, that, are from a variety of different backgrounds, which again, I think for me is important. If we say the kingdom of God is real and it matters, and Jesus is on the right hand of God the Father, and he's there advocating, then we need to make sure that we do what we can to promote real diversity, not tokenism, but real diversity.
Yeah, and kind of stemming off of that, I just kind of felt that in previous years, I think Anya might know, but whenever we have gospel chapel, for example, there was a certain way that people would expect gospel chapel to go because it's being led by Black, singers. And there's just, I don't really know what the word is for it, but almost like there's some kind of separation. Like I remember when Reverend James, you first spoke, and there was a certain way that people expected you to speak because like you were from Texas, you're Black, and like it's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's some kind of lingering stereotype, especially surrounding like quote unquote Black Christianity or like African American Christianity, that I think people put in front of them when it comes to things like gospel chapel or like when a Black person is speaking, that I feel creates an unnecessary divide. Yeah.
That's been one of like my biggest negative experiences at Trinity, is the whole like these stereotypes surrounding Blacks in general. So I've even noticed with chapel, where chapel was supposed to be something that was like, I think that's like Trinity's way of like being inclusive, but the fact that we have to have a gospel chapel in the first place feels extremely exclusive to me, because I feel like if you're really dedicated to being all about diversity and representing everyone and making everyone feel included, then you would cycle out and we wouldn't just be singing the worship music, like the Hillsong, all the time. There should be a good, nice balance of a little bit of everything. And this is how you expose people to different cultures. A lot of people at Trinity have been sheltered and only introduced to things, and they've only been introduced to things and surroundings and people that look like them. So when people who are different come out, they don't know how to act, or they don't know what to say and what not to say to these groups of people. So you can't introduce a group of people to something different or get them to learn about other cultures by being comfortable and keeping everybody comfortable. Sometimes we have to push people out of those comfort zones. I was called ghetto for the first time ever in my life, just for raising my voice a little bit and speaking up about something. So, me, I was offended because ghetto is not something that I necessarily associate with, and coming from where I come from, it's not a good thing. But I realized it's simply being African American to them in their eyes just means that I'm automatically ghetto. Like that's what being African American means. And there have been a lot of other like small like microaggressions like that I've received as well, like with Cavalli's gangster rap unit, where they were talking about gangster rap. As someone coming from an environment with that type of music is very prevalent, I had my own sort of like perception of what gangster rap was, but the class is taught very biased from a biased opinion. And so a lot of these kids who haven't been exposed to this are taking in this information and making their judgments based off of someone else's opinion. It got to the point where I would try to speak up in class, but it moves very quickly, so there isn't much room for like discussion. And even then, their minds were made up about it, because coming from the prof versus somebody who listens to the music, I guess my opinion wasn't credible. But it got to the point where like I was so uncomfortable that like I stopped going to class. Because you're coming in and you're hearing these stereotypes, and these people come in and making assumptions about you and your culture as a person, and it feels like you're being attacked. Especially with the small Black community that we have at the school. I was the only Black girl in the class. So I feel like Trinity needs to do a lot better at making sure that they do their research and that they do those things that make people uncomfortable, or that we do continue to have these discussions.
Yeah. Amen. I'm with you guys. I think you guys are right. The idea of comfortable Christianity is really an oxymoron. Christianity in and of itself is the most uncomfortable thing you can do. Jesus was the perfect picture of making everybody uncomfortable. And as Christians, again, with this ethic of this coming kingdom of God that invites all tribes, all tongues, all nations into the fold, for those who follow Jesus, like we have to make sure that's seen through all the different components of how we do life as Trinity Western, from the dorms to our resident assistants to chapel. We're working on the Hillsong stuff, so y'all pray for me. We're trying to get more diverse with some of that. To the curriculum, with professors, the whole experience. We want it to be something that really reflects who we understand God to be, and therefore who we are. Like our ethnicity and our race is not an aside to how God created us. Our skin, God gave us the melanin or lack thereof that we have, and so it's something we can celebrate and not feel bad about. So I appreciate you guys sharing. Let me just wrap this up by offering a couple of helpful hints, just piggybacking on some of what you guys said. So for the Trinity Western folks out there, these are some things to think about. We don't want to be tokenized, right? We also don't want to be stereotyped, as Anya said. So if you maybe are in a class and you're hearing about this or reading something about history, I would say we all would say, like, ask someone, particularly someone of color. Like we don't have the time or energy to be everyone's guide in life, but I think we're open to people that you have relationship with in class or in the dorms, asking questions like, hey, what is life like as someone who is from Dublin, Ireland? Tell me a little bit about that. Maybe they have a question about your background or where you come from or how things look there and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're open to those kinds of things, but you also can pick up a book too. You also can do some other things to educate yourself, and then ask good questions from people. And then lastly, I try to highlight this as often as I can. Just being honest, don't touch the hair. I'm just saying. Now, I don't care whether you got long hair or you shave it like I shave mine. Don't touch the hair. Now, I'm grown, so I haven't experienced that as an adult. But I remember being in college at the University of Maryland and playing football and having some issues with some folks. And I'm like, brother, you got one more time. This is not the frat house, brother. It's gonna go down you better step back a little bit. So all I'm saying is that those are just some helpful hints, really, no matter what your culture or racial background is. Like there's just some 6 feet of space, you know. I mean, you can't do it virtually, but the hula hoop space, y'all know what, I don't know if y'all got hula hoops in Canada, is that a thing or not? But hula hoops, you know, 6 inches, give someone some space, and don't be invasive just because you feel like, you know, you want to ask them this or you want to tell them that. You know, be curious, but be respectful, I guess I would say. So thank you guys for taking some time to chat and to share all this good information. Shout out to the Afro Caribbean Club and all that they're doing to try to kind of promote some of these conversations. Any parting words? Anybody wanna say something?
Just be mindful of your words and your attitudes and your actions. We're not like, I hate the idea that people think that we're sensitive, or, you know, that we take things so to heart. But you do have to watch what you say, and just be aware of your surroundings. You know, don't, like, it's not nice to be uncomfortable, so don't make other people uncomfortable. You know, by saying things or doing things, by trying to be the lad or trying to be the last. Just, you know, be smart.
Hey, I like it. Be smart.
I would also say, like, intent doesn't supersede impact. So if we let you know that something is offensive, like, don't like, and it doesn't just stop with Black people, like any minority, or if anybody comes to you and says something that you said is offensive, don't diminish anybody's experience. Just know that just because you intended or you didn't intend for it to be offensive doesn't mean it wasn't. So listen to people's experiences and just learn from them.
Yeah. Ani, you good? All right, look at that. All right, well, hey, I appreciate you guys. God bless your hearts and all your parts, those of you out there in Trinity Western, and we'll see you guys next time we have chapel.
Thank you.